Why, hello there, everyone. How's it going? It's Saturday. It's kind of early where I am. I don't know. It might not be that early where you are, but it's the Saturday Algorithm Podcast. And I lost yesterday, just like I lose like every day because I'm the worst sports better ever. We're going to talk about some sports, but I'm happy. You know why I'm happy? Because I didn't watch sports last night. You know what I did? I worked on cellular mechanics and I learned what all the different cellular organelles do in the human cell, and I figured out why phosphates do what they do in my atomizer. I'm doing this whole genetic crazy application, and I did work on this last night, and I learned something, and I feel good. So I'm in a good mood, even though I got my butt whipped when it comes to betting. Well, why? Why did I get my butt whipped? I mean, look at what college basketball did. It goes 9-1 with a 5% bump. All those home teams that I told you to play, they all won, and some more that I didn't even tell you to play, like Kent State and New Mexico and Cleveland State. Although I did personally tell you to stay away from Purdue Fort Wayne because they were on the road and things looked a little different with no bump, which is why we're going to be going with a 5% bump in the future. The end of this video, like a lot of this video, what's going on here? The end of this video is going to be about the massive college basketball slate for the day. How many games? I mean, there was only yesterday there were only like 10, right? There were only 10 yesterday, and we go 8-2 with no bump, but you need to put a little bump on there. That's how I knew that Purdue Fort Wayne was not a great pick because they were away. So when you throw a 5% bump on here, which is what we're going to leave it for today, you get a much better day. And also, all these value picks win, every single one of them. When the value picks are winning and the implied line is better than the money, or the implied line is worse than the money line, meaning the money line gives you better value, boy, they crushed it. So we'll talk about the Matt here. Here's a very quick look at how many games there are. How about 139 games? We're going to go through that at the end of the video. So we'll get back to college basketball in a second. Cellular mechanics, I'd love to talk about, and I will be talking about as I build a bottom up, vertically integrated human body, human organism application. I don't know. We're going all the way from the periodic table of elements, how they create compounds and substrates and everything else, and into the cell, and then cell into tissues and organs into complete cell differentiation to the entire body. Yeah, that's what I'm working on, so that we can program our bodies, biohack, cure cancer like a program. Yep, that's what we're doing. But of course, people want sports for the next few days. So let's go back to sports. So let's talk about NBA. I ran the macro on NBA yesterday. We go 3-2 with most distributions. I'm not going to go through the huge compare pivot. It was pretty nuts. Still needs a lot of work. This will be a focus right before up until January 31st to get a really good distribution. I mean, why did Cleveland lose? I mean, I understand why Memphis might have lost. There was significant injuries on both teams. But how does Cleveland lose to an injured OKC? I don't get it. I think they led a lot of the game. I'd like to know why. I'm not sure. And maybe it's just a one-off. So let's talk about today, Saturday. There are games. Bunch of games. We're sticking with distribution 14 because I don't know what else to do. So take all this with a grain of salt. But when I see underdog Houston against a bad Detroit and Detroit's injured, it's possible that's a pretty good line. Nuggets, are they healthy? Are those people back? It's a good game, actually. Sixers is pretty good. So the lines are not that bad today, but I would say focus on college basketball where we're much more reliable with our home team. So NBA, have a good day. It takes a long time to save when you run this macro. Talk more about the macro later this week. There's also hockey. Hockey had another pretty disappointing day. You have some crazy stuff happen, like Ottawa beating Toronto. Toronto likes to lose games. Did I not say Toronto likes to lose games yesterday? I didn't say that. So I didn't say that, so they lost, because whatever comes out of my mouth, the betting gods make the opposite come true. Let's just face it. So rougher day. This was a pretty interesting game. LA and Florida's got some weird defensive problems, and I don't think Bobrovsky is to worry about his spot if he stays healthy, because Alex Leon did not look good. All right, Islanders beat Detroit. Well, it was supposed to be a close game. Get some Rangers. Yeah, Rangers playing better. I took Vegas. Why? Why? I was like, oh, 135 line. Underdogs won yesterday. Shut up, Ken, loser. Carolina makes this a win, being down 2 goals in the third period. I believe they were down 4-2, if I remember correctly. That just shows you how much better a team they were. And that's at least encouraging that the number one pick comes back from being down to win, because you are going to be dealing with bounces in hockey. And sometimes they're not going to go your way. If you can overcome the bounces, as Carolina did in that game, just shows the disparity in the game here. And that's something I like to see out of the algorithm. Problem was they were terrible lining. They were minus 300. New Jersey beats Dallas. Did they really? Did I type that in right? Let me ask Google real quick. New Jersey Devils versus Dallas Stars. What was the score?
Yesterday, the Devils played the Stars.
They did win 3-2.
The final score was 3-2 Devils in overtime.
Wow. Wow. I mean, I guess you can call that exact score, kind of, right? And then Vancouver does beat a bad Columbus. Mm-hmm. Believe that. And Calgary wins, because I said Seattle would win, because don't listen to me. Now, as for Saturday, also a big slate. So what we learned is hockey's tough. But when games are when there's a large disparity like Colorado over St. Louis, that line should be minus 300 apparently. St. Louis has not been playing well. They did not. They got blown out by Arizona the other night. But don't listen to me. Like, listen to the algorithm. They're the number one pick. Boston over Florida playing a back-to-back game. That's reasonable for Boston. They lost a tough one to Tampa Bay, but it was close, and they still played well. Swayman probably going today instead of Ullmark, but it might be Ullmark. I don't know. Says Montreal beats no, doesn't. Says Ottawa beats Montreal. Sorry. You got to bet against Martin St. Louis, which I never do, except when I do, but I'm not going to today. LA and Tampa Bay. It's Tampa Bay. I'm surprised it's not giving LA more credit. Back-to-back game, Tampa Bay playing better. That minus 208 seems bad. That doesn't seem right. That seems like too much. San Jose and Pittsburgh. This is a joke. Pittsburgh's playing like crap. They're winning less than half their games. They are not playing well. And San Jose back-to-back game just loses, but they just seriously fought hard, right, against Carolina. And they're also not playing well. Don't listen to me. Philly and Winnipeg. This is Winnipeg. Carter Hart going. Probably. Fifth pick of the day. Also bad line. Boy, the hockey lines got bad. It makes me want to take the other. Watch me take a bunch of underdogs and lose today. But when I start seeing these lines like this, like, every game's not supposed to be minus 250 in hockey. It's not. Like, that hockey's not like that. Hockey is the toughest sport to. I'd say the win percentage on the. As a matter of fact, let's look at it really quick. Let's look at the season win percentage. What is it? It's only 59%. Yeah, that doesn't surprise me at all. I once talked to a lifetime gambler in Vegas years ago, and before I was doing all these algorithms, and I was talking about how I was a hockey player, and he's like, "You bet on hockey?" And I hadn't really bet much hockey at that point. I'm like, not really. I go, but it's fun to watch. He goes, bet the underdog every game. I'm like, what? He goes, yep. He goes, they've done tests on it, and like, you bet the underdog every game, you win money. And I did that one year back in 2017. I actually ran all the numbers, and that was true. It was funny. But it's just because hockey's a game of bounces. Anyway, I'm going to keep going. Buffalo, Minnesota says Buffalo. There's your underdog line pick of the day. So that's one you can feel confident betting the underdog, because the algorithm likes it as well. And Edmonton's minus 400, right? Probably they are. I mean, Chicago does give up a lot of goals, so that makes a lot of sense. But Edmonton just blows one to Columbus, also a really bad team, arguably the worst team in the league, right? Yeah. And so now they're playing the second worst team in the league, right? Hockey is like that. And then Arizona, this is the battle of the cellar dwellers who are actually playing better. This just I don't know. I don't know what to do in those games where there's nothing to bet. All right, so there's a lot in there. If you do one thing for hockey, it does say Colorado to win. If you believe on the number one picks, but as a team for that, believe it or not, Boston has a higher power though, and the line is better. So even though the pick rank says 2, that's only because St. Louis is playing so bad. But you do want to bet against bad teams. All right, enough hockey. Let's do the big rig, the big 136 games. So I'm confident giving you advice here in college basketball, because this one, I've always said this in every video you've ever seen me talk about. I always say college basketball is the best sport to bet and that you should focus on college basketball. And people that are smarter than me and listen to me, which is not me, but you are smarter than me when you listen to me, when you know what when you can tell I know what I'm talking about. You focus on college basketball, you find yourself profitable. And I've gotten messages over the years from people that said things like, dude, you put me through college with your college basketball file. I won so much money. I was like, man, good for you. I'm like, awesome. Thank you. Thank you for, I'm glad I had a good impact in your life. And other people that sit around and like to toy with it. It's a fun toy to play with when you have a lot of time and I mean, I sometimes have some time to watch all these games, but I end up getting super anxious because I am monitoring all those sports you just saw me mention and other sports like soccer and stuff like that and WNBA. And I just, whatever it is, somebody asks me for it and I just do it. And I'm monitoring all of them so that at night I have screens going on with games everywhere, tracking scores, trying to get an idea of how the algorithms are working. It has done bad things to my health, I think, too, as well as my psychological things. Like, I haven't won money. There are times I won money, but I'm not up money anymore. I'm down money. I'm losing every day. Like, something's wrong with me, and so that's one of the other reasons why I'm also stopping. Is I want to, like I said, do work on cellular respiration, and DNA transcription and a bunch of other things that really interest me, as well as work. I also still have to work to make money, guys. I'm still like an accountant, sort of. So the whole thing is like, I wanted to build something that was so automated that we just put numbers in here, sort, and something pops up like this, which is value pick. And you just bet them and you shut up and you don't even watch the games. You go and you cook your wife dinner, give her breakfast in bed, and you're like, you're a productive individual. And then you check your phone 8 hours later and you're like, oh my God, I won $1,000. That's what I want this to do. Right. Well, I am confident enough now, after doing the implied line and understanding about home teams and understanding the home bump and getting our distributions correct, because this has been years of me doing this. The reason why you don't see me having to go through this one as much to adjust the distributions like I do with the NBA file, because I didn't do NBA before last year, but doing college basketball and the March Madness bracket thing for like, I don't know, 7-8 years or something. And this predictive algorithm I've been doing for at least 3 years. So this distribution has been tested, tried, and true over years, which is why I have iterations of it and why it looks a certain way, it does certain things. So I don't feel the need to go through and mess with that distribution that much, because you're probably just going to screw it up at this point. Like, it does the right things. You don't have days like this where you're just absolutely crushing life. I mean, like 9-1, I know they're all favorites, but look at our projected scores. Look at how disgustingly awesome this thing is. I mean, I was putting them in yesterday and I was like, oh my God. I'm like, oh, we thought it was going to be 75-72 and it was 74-70. Okay. We thought there was going to be 147 points. There was 144. We're off by 1 point and one basket. Right. Oh, we thought it was going to be 68-64. It was 68-52. They put exactly the points up and they held the other team to less. And we have them on the top of this list as a value pick. So we kind of know that, right? Oh, we thought it was going to be 69-64. It was 68. We're off by one. We're off by, I'm like, are you kidding? Now, not every game is that close, but man, like these numbers, as you can see, they range from the 90s all the way to the 50s. So to get them off by one, like, go try to do that. You try to predict some scores. And on top of trying to predict some scores yourself and compare to this, try to predict 136 games of scores also, which this does automatically. So this beast just works. And of course, you're not going to win everything every day. Of course, things are going to happen. Of course, stuff's going to go off the rim. Of course, people are going to throw up bricks at the wrong time, and you're not going to win every game. But what I'm telling you to do, which is not me, it's the algorithm telling you to do this, and me understanding what the algorithm tells you, is to pick home teams. We have value picks. That's right, folks. I'm giving you 30 picks today, potentially. Let's get rid of some of these. That's right, 30 picks. These 30 teams to win. And guess what? I bet a lot of them. I did this last night. I made a bunch of bets. I bet what? I think I bet like 15 plus 14 plus like 11. I think I bet somewhere in the neighborhood of 40 plus teams, because I also took some away teams on a different ticket because I am a masochist. So these home teams, though, these 29 home teams, are they all bettable? Well, here's what we care about. And we're going to start to shrink some stuff. We know these are all home teams, so I can almost shrink this. We're going to keep the health open. We're not going to worry about spread for now because I want to shrink some columns for you. Spread cover, I'm also not going to worry about it. Power will leave for a second, and we'll also get rid of the projected scores and the games played. Here's why. So all we care about, because we've programmed this algorithm to kick out winners in order by profit now. So it's not even just by which team was going to win. It used to be by margin. Like this margin number used to be what I would sort by. And so like what would be at the top would be a huge margin game like this. Like Oral Roberts shows up at the top, right? Problem is they are minus 3,000, unbettable, ridiculous. I'm glad. I'm really happy with this look because it moves the stuff that I view as unbettable, whether or not my opinion of something being unbettable is true or not. I mean, you could try betting the spread minus 20 points or whatever it is. I don't think that's a good betting strategy. I think teams play to win games. That's my own theory, and that's why I've built this under that theory. So it moves those unbettable, huge differential bad line games to the bottom because we're sorting by line value. And what line value is line value is saying that Portland State should beat Montana. They should beat them by an 11% margin with a 5% bump, meaning it's actually a 6.9% raw margin that they have because they're at home and because they're a better team. They're a little injured, so that's something to watch out for, actually. That would be a reason not to play them, but they're not injured enough that I'm going to say no because they're at the top of this list because they're apparently an underdog. So we have one of our rare things, which are home underdogs. We actually have 3 home underdogs on this list, which only is because of the 5% bump. If I change this to a 0% bump, they're gone. One of them is gone. These two are still here, right? So these two are true home underdogs with no bump. But we need a bump. Bump is important. It is absolutely a factor. Home teams 100% play better at home. It is proven. If it isn't proven, you can take me to court because I can prove it. It's absolutely true. You know it. So you have to bump them. And it makes for better scores apparently as well, because it changes margin differential for whatever reason. So given this look, what do you play? Well, it's not what the order that you're seeing is by line value and not by line. So we actually have to look at the lines to see what's the best bettable. It just so happens the 3 underdogs show up on top, and that is a consequence of the formula that I wrote, actually, because a negative number compared to a positive number actually adds 100 by accident. So the line value is actually 247, not 147. It's 247 because there's a 100 that's being added in here by accident that shouldn't be in there. So these are 100 too much. This is really 179. This is really 149 as line value. If you're thinking about this in terms of unit bet, and I can actually change that formula. No, I can't. It's a calculated field. If you want to know how I created this line value, because you don't have a copy of the algorithm, here's what I did. I went to field item sets. It's called the calculated field. And calculated fields allow you to do equations on things in the pivot table. And so line value is money line minus implied line. And what we could do, I mean, will this work? If I could put an if in here, money line is greater than no, I have to put if, and I could basically put a formula in there that would subtract this 100 out, but we're just going to let it go for now because it's too boring for you to go over and you want to know picks. But understand that these are really, if you're mathematically thinking about your betting, the line value is actually 247, not 147, I think. Actually, that might even not even be true either, because this is a different equation on the other end. I think I need to do more work on this. Anyway, the point is, it's still in the right order after all that gibberish that I just said about trying to formulate that thing correctly. It is not mathematically correct when you're talking about profit. This is over here, right? This profit's fine. Like if you look at yesterday, yeah, you made 2.46 units yesterday. If you bet every single game with a 5% bump, the way we had it, because you go 7-1. Oh, sorry. If you bet all the home teams, you won them all. That's right. If you bet every game, you're still up 2.595 units, because a couple of the away teams won it up top as well. Anyway, backing up. I know there's a lot going on here, isn't there? So let's talk about the picks you're supposed to take. These are apparently really good. Especially, I mean, look at Western Illinois. I know Western Illinois has a worse strength of schedule, but injured South Dakota, injured Old Dominion. So I did a round robin where I took, like I said, like 15 at a time. I'm sure I just went right down the list. So what about these lines though? Let me get back to that, which is what are these lines and when do these lines become bettable or not bettable? Well, we have options of looking at this in a different way, and we're going to sort it by money line descending, which will show the best lined games. Okay, so now all of a sudden, if you're really looking for value, you can look at the lines and then also glance at the line value. You don't want to see a big, huge negative number over here. And none of these are huge, but this one's like kind of bad. Like Creighton's line is Creighton against Xavier is it should be minus 114. You got to pay minus 205. So this is like really not a lot of value here, right? Even though the line's only minus 205. So when you start to look at this though, top down, because you have good lines here, the margins are really low. So that's trouble. They're all within the 5% home bump range. These margins are a little better. So your Idaho, your Yale, your North Alabama, even Fordham, definitely Yale, right? Yeah. You're getting value with Yale. They have a better strength of schedule. They're at home. Princeton's okay, though. Idaho against an injured Idaho State. This is pretty reasonable. And I see Morehead State. It's only 1% margin, though. So I'm overthinking. Can you tell? I'm overthinking a little too much, because basically you want to go back to what I just did, which is the line value sort. Okay. And you just want to go down the line. And you can be, I mean, how many games are on here? And how many games all right, all the value picks, will the value picks be profitable? If these value picks are here, these 30 picks, if at the end of the day, the running total over here is not profitable, if it's not profitable, okay, these 30 games, which the algorithm says are like the most premium, they're all home teams. There's no reason on earth we shouldn't hit like 90% of these games, or at least 80, above 80% for sure, and hopefully closer to 90. As you can see, like yesterday, 100%. So if that's not profitable, I'm never doing a sports video again. That means that all of my work that has been done, even though this is only 1 day sample, it's 30 games though. It's a huge sample. I've perfected this as far as I want to go with it. If this is not profitable, the only video you're going to see me is talking about how I spent the last decade of my life off and on doing sports algorithms, promised something would happen with 100% guarantee this will be profitable today, and it lost. And so I decided that sports algorithms and sports betting are not for me. That will be the video that I will do if this is not profitable, because I am 99.99999% sure this will be profitable. because the only thing that could make enough of these teams lose at home would be my awful luck. That's the only thing that could do it. So I'm going to make a guarantee that something's going to win. These 30 picks are going to win. I don't know what lines you're going to get because they're going to change, especially after I do this video, unfortunately. But here's for the audio transcription. These teams profitable will win. Portland State, Western Illinois, Coastal Carolina, Arkansas Pine Bluff, Grambling, Maryland Eastern Shore, Kansas State, Miami of Ohio, Southern, that's not Southern, there's like Texas Southern stuff. This is Southern, just called Southern University. Texas Tech, Southern Mississippi, Central Florida, Idaho, Cornell, Yale, North Alabama, Kennesaw State, Eastern Washington, Northern Arizona, UC Riverside, Fordham, Eastern Kentucky, Mount St. Mary's. There is a Texas Southern that's also apparently getting bet. Boise State, Morehead State, Bethune-Cookman, Texas A&M Corpus Christi, Tennessee, and Delaware. That's right, where your president's from. All those picks, if you bet the money line on all those, you will make money today. If you don't, you'll never see me do a video about predicting sports ever again. So good luck, everybody. I predict of those games, I said 90% will win. 27-3 is what we're going to go on this. All right. Good luck, everybody. It doesn't have to be 27-3. We'd be profitable at, I have to go find those games and put scores in and run the sample profit, but makes me want to do it right now. Hold on. Just so we can be super clear on how sure I am, like how many games we have to lose to do this. So how do I do this super fast? What we're trying to do is we're trying to change what this says here. And we could put in scores and then change a couple of them. See what we can do. It's kind of a funny way to do it. No, I'm getting too boring. But I predict this will go about like 26-4 is about right, like 88% or something like that. For those probably go 26-4. If they start to go less than, oh man, if they start to go, like you're gonna have a day to win money, you're gonna have to go probably 22-8 or better. It's about my roundabout math in my head on that one. But it depends on which games you win and lose, because if you start winning games like your underdogs, that makes it easier for you to be profitable with winning less games overall. But I think it's going to be about 21-9 or 22-8, where you're probably going to potentially not be profitable anymore, because there's a lot of -200s on this list and -300s, and these don't pay very well. So you're only betting them because home teams win a lot. All right. So good luck, everybody. It'd be awesome if we go 30-0, but I don't think that's going to happen. But I do predict 26-4. All right. Good luck. May all your picks be winning.